At the gallery, Ava introduces Joel Sartori, whose new book is the inspiration for the latest exhibit. Joel thanks Ava and Trina for having him back and speaks about his new book, which focuses on baby animals. People begin to mingle, and Rick tells Ava that she outdid herself. Cody watches them and then chats with Liz about the photos. That grabs Rick's attention. Cody accidentally spills his drink on Liz, and Rick quickly rushes over to help her. Ava fumes and mumbles to herself that he can barely keep his hands off her. Cody then whisks Ava away to chat. Trina thanks Joss and Gio for coming. They ask where Kai is, and Trina says Drew must have kept him working late. At the Metro Court pool, Ezra meets with Drew and gives him everything he needs to land a hit on Sonny and Laura. Laura picks Martin up from the hospital, and he rants about how his back troubles are all Tracy's fault. She warns him that if he goes to war with Tracy, no one will win. She advises him to focus on his recovery. Marco arrives and meets with Lucas, who returns his mother's personal belongings. Marco doesn't care what the police or autopsy reports say. Sonny is responsible for his mother's death. Portia and Stella chat about the gallery show, and Curtis hasn't told Portia if he's going or not. She admits they are having problems. Stella says they have to remember what they mean to one another. Stella finds Martin with Laura, and Martin calls her his medical bill savior. She tells him that they need to speak in private. They go somewhere to talk, and Martin tells Stella that he can't thank her enough for getting his insurance reinstated. She tells him to keep it down, as they could both get into trouble because of what she did. Ezra appears and gives his condolences to Marco, and says he will do everything in his power to take Sonny down for his mother's death. Suddenly, the press shows up asking Marco if his mom was laundering money for Sonny, and if he has a comment on her death. Ezra uses the press to his advantage, and Marco claims his mother's death was a tragedy. Laura walks around the corner, and the cameras focus on her when Ezra asks if she'll condemn Sonny for the death of Natalia Ramirez. Laura says the case has been closed, and she is not going to sling mud with him in front of a grieving family member. Ezra turns to Marco and asks if he knows Sonny was kept for up to 24 hours by the PCPD after his mother's death. Marco warns Ezra that he will not allow him to politicize his mother's death, and if he doesn't stop harassing him, he'll take legal action. Later, Marco tells Laura that he knows what kind of person Ezra is, but he also tells her, "Shame on you," for considering Sonny a friend, as he blames him for his mother's death. At Sonny's, Carly yells at Sonny that their children's lives are on the line because of this war with Sidwell. They can't keep retaliating or someone will die. At the Q's boathouse, Michael tells Sasha that he can't let her and Daisy leave on their own as it's not safe. She asks what he'll do, hire her a bodyguard? Michael has a better idea. Michael calls Jason and asks to meet him at the boathouse. Jason leaves Sonny's place, and Carly tells Sonny to admit it. When Jason said it was Michael on the phone, his heart stopped. Sonny tells Carly that Sidwell has to face the consequences for what he did. Otherwise, their kids will be in more danger. Carly says this is a trap, and he has to get Sidwell to stand down. Now is the time to stop the violence before they lose someone else they love. Jason arrives at the boathouse and learns from Michael and Sasha what happened with Daisy. Sasha says she and Daisy need to leave Port Charles, and Michael agrees it's not safe here for them. Jason asks where she wants to go. We don't hear their destination, but Jason says he'll be in contact with Michael once they arrive safely. Sasha takes Daisy to the house to feed her and says she'll stay in her room every night until they leave. Alone, Michael admits he doesn't know how he's going to be able to do this. He has no idea if or when he'll see his daughter again and will miss out on all her firsts. Jason understands his pain, as he's had to walk away from Danny and Jake more than once, but to know that none of this is his fault. At Aurora, Kai overhears Felicia giving Curtis the bad news that Jacinda fled. He interrupts, and Felicia leaves them. Kai confesses that he warned Drew what he was planning. Curtis tells him that he's meddling in affairs he knows nothing about. Kai explains Drew had a right to know, as what he was going to do would hurt Willow and the children, not just Drew. Suddenly, Drew walks in, and Kai admits he confessed to Curtis. Curtis warns Kai he doesn't know the real Drew, and he'll have to tell Trina what he did. Kai knows and heads out. Curtis blasts Drew for the situation he's put Kai in, but Drew says he's the victim here. Drew slams Curtis's wife for drugging him, and him for planning to use Jacinda against him. Drew tells Curtis he could go to the PCPD and the hospital and take him and Portia down, or he can do something for him. Drew demands that Curtis print that Sonny was held for 24 hours as a person of interest in Natalia's death, and he has her autopsy report, which he wants him to print as well. Back at the gallery, Portia arrives, and Gio listens in as Sidwell tells Jordan that he wants to keep the investigation into Natalia's death open. He asks her to go to Anna and tell her that Sonny was going to ship Natalia off to Belize, and the records should be available at the airport. Perhaps Natalia took her own life instead of facing what Sonny had planned for her. Emma shows up and talks to Joss about how beautiful animals are and how awful testing on them is. Joss says she hasn't found anything, and Dalton hasn't even let her into his lab. So what does she want? Emma says she just wanted to say goodnight as she is headed out to meet Vaughn. After helping Liz, Rick pulls Ava away from Cody to speak in private. He lashes out at her for flirting with Cody to punish him for giving Liz attention. Ava says he's so smitten with Liz, and he can't even see it. Jordan talks to Portia and tells her that she is not a woman who sticks her nose in other people's marriages, so whatever happens, it's on her and Curtis. She told Curtis they would only interact through work or their family. Portia insists she isn't buying a single word she says. Gio goes to Sonny's, and Carly takes off after having said what she needed to. Gio warns Sonny about overhearing Sidwell in his plans, but Sonny tells him to stay out of this. Gio says, "Grandpa, I just thought you should know." Sonny says he doesn't agree with a lot of what Tracy says, but she was right in warning him to stay away from him. Sonny says he's made mistakes, and the people he cares about often get hurt, so all he can do is protect his family. He doesn't want Gio listening in on Sidwell or anyone else for him. Joss meets her mom at the pool, and Carly says she just wanted to tell her that she loves her. Joss asks if something happened. At the gallery, Rick tells Ava to be nicer to him as she's made a lot of money off his misfortune. Ava says that without her, he wouldn't know who was behind his misfortune. She lashes out that he is just a lawyer with a schoolboy crush. Rick says he is going to go before one of them says something they regret. He storms off as Cody watches. Kai finally shows up at the exhibit, and Trina smiles at him. At the hospital, Stella tells Martin that if he's not careful, the insurance company might consider his back issue a pre-existing condition, which means they won't pay out. She rants about how she's seen too many companies not pay what patients are entitled to. Martin promises to defend her if it comes to it. Stella says she finessed the system to help him, which could get them both in trouble, so the less he knows what she did, the better. Laura tells Marco that she and Sonny share a family, though that doesn't mean she agrees with everything he does. She is sorry for his loss and wishes him and his family peace. She says goodbye and walks off. Marco rants to Lucas that Ezra is an ass, though he does agree with him and blames Sonny for his mother's death. He hopes it won't come between them. Lucas insists that Sonny has nothing to do with them. Marco would hate to lose Lucas to Sonny as well. At Oroa, Curtis does Drew's bidding. He orders a story printed with the headline, "Did Sonny Corinthos and Natalia Ramariz?" At home, Sonny doesn't want to see Gio hurt because of him, so for his grandpa's sake, stay away from him for now. Gio agrees, and they share a tearful hug. At the pool, Carly tells Joss how Sonny could have lost his daughter, so she wanted to tell her daughter that she loves her. She asks Joss just to be careful while living her life, for her sake. At the boathouse, Jason tells Michael that Sam hated his work for Sonny, and she was right to protect Danny from him. He says Michael doesn't deserve to lose his daughter, but it's the right thing to do to protect her. Michael remembers he promised Sasha that he wouldn't be the kind of dad his father was, and nothing like the fire at the penthouse or Charlie's would happen to his kids. He didn't know he'd have to keep that promise this soon. On the next General Hospital, Kai confesses to Trina that he told Drew what her dad was planning. Portia blasts Curtis for not being worthy enough. At the Brown Dog, Anna asks Isaiah to be her cover. Also at the bar, Joss tells Vaughn, "It's either me or her." Laura tells Lulu, "We're not going to let her get away with it." Tracy warns Chase that his wife is headed for disaster. With Michael by her side, Dante asks Brooklyn why the hell she'd do that to his son. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. Anna finds Isaiah at the Brown Dog Bar and asks him if he could be her cover. She is waiting for Felicia, but has just noticed Emma is here with a man at least 10 years older than her, and she is intrigued by whatever is going on. He agrees to help her. Vaughn tells Emma that they should get out of here and find a quieter place to talk. She knows a place near campus, and as they prepare to leave, Anna stops them and asks Emma who her friend is. Emma says they were just headed out, but Anna insists on buying them a drink, so they grab a table. Anna gets a text that Felicia can't make it, which gives her time to get to know Emma's friend. He introduces himself and says he knows Emma from PCU, where he works in the facilities department. Anna asks if he attended PCU many years ago. Vaughn excuses himself to use the men's room, and Anna tells Emma that the man is at least 10 years older than her. Emma says she's an adult and can date who she wants, but Anna thinks she's using Vaughn to perhaps break into another lab, seeing that he's involved with the facilities department. At the gallery, Trina cleans up after the show and asks Kai where he's been. He tells her about Jacinda disappearing and hearing her dad talking to Felicia about it. Trina doesn't understand why they are discussing this. Kai admits he tipped Drew off to what her dad was planning. Trina is shocked by what Kai did, and after discussing how it's not any of their business, Kai goes off on how what Curtis was planning was wrong, and he couldn't let him get away with hurting Drew, who has been good to him. She wishes his loyalty extended to her as much as it did to Drew. She wonders if he even hesitated in betraying her family. Kai swears he struggled with this, but he couldn't stand by and let something wrong happen. How can she expect him to sit back and let someone be destroyed for something they didn't do? Would she want to be with a person who is okay with that? She's not sure she wants to be with him at all. At Aurora, Portia shows up and tells Curtis that Trina's show was great, and she thought he'd be there. Curtis says he was busy being blackmailed by Drew again. He tells her how Kai blew up his plan to bring Jacinda here and stop Drew. Portia says this is bad, as Trina really cares for Kai. Curtis says Drew has them right where he wants them, and Portia knows it's because of her. Curtis promises he won't let Drew take her down. Portia knows he's only doing this for Trina, and she wishes he'd protect her because she is his wife. Curtis admits she did cause this, and he is doing this to protect himself and Trina. He wishes he could say he was doing it to protect her. Portia lashes out that she's sorry she's not worthy of his honorable intentions, but assumes Jordan is. She tells him not to wait up and storms off. At Lulu's, she tells her mother that Brooklyn has gone after Rocco to get back at her, and now he knows about Britt Westbourne. Laura is confused, and Lulu explains that she and Dante never got to tell Rocco about Britt, and Brooklyn did this to hurt her. Up in his room, Rocco searches online for information about Britt. Laura says they won't let Brooklyn get away with this, but to focus on Rocco and what he needs to know now. Lulu says he needs to understand that she and Dante are his parents, and the only parents he's known. She feels like Rocco is pulling away from her. Laura says that at his age, information like this can rattle a young person, and it can be painful for a child to find out their parents had complicated pasts, but this will pass. Laura says Rocco may have questions, but he knows how much Lulu loves him and that she is a wonderful mother. Later, Rocco finds Laura sitting on the porch. She heard he had a rough few days. He talks with his grandma as Lulu listens in. Rocco admits he can't get over the fact that his parents didn't choose to have him, that he was stolen. Laura tells Rocco how desperate his parents were to have him, and he was their little miracle when he showed up. She says he never has to question his parents' love for him, and it's something he can depend on for the rest of his life. Laura asks him to remember that he is their miracle and always will be. Rocco thanks her. She tells him he's allowed to ask questions and to keep asking them until he's satisfied, as this is his life. They hug, and Rocco calls her the best. On the Quartermain estate, Tracy finds Chase having just gotten done with a swim. She warns him that Brooklyn is headed for disaster, and he needs to stop her. She fears Brooklyn will blow up her life, pursuing revenge against Lulu. Chase is quiet, and Tracy asks if he thinks Brooklyn is justified in what she's doing. Chase says what Lulu did was wrong, and she went after Brooklyn and Gio in the worst way possible. Tracy asks if he's going to help Brooklyn punish Lulu. He has no idea if his wife is planning something, and he doesn't police her. Tracy says no good can come from Lulu and Brooklyn destroying one another. She loves them both, but they are only hurting each other and themselves. Chase knows Tracy isn't wrong. She asks him to convince Brooklyn that the way forward is by building a family and a relationship with him and their children, including her son. In the Q's living room, Michael finds Brooklyn crying in the dark. He asks what is going on. She tells her that Gio hates her, and she doesn't know if things can get any worse. That's when Dante storms in and asks her how she could do that to his son. Dante yells that this is a new low to be so vicious to Rocco. Michael tells Dante to take a step back, but Dante fumes over Brooklyn making a file on Britt and leaving it out where anyone could have found it. Brooklyn swears it was an accident, and nobody was supposed to find it. Dante says it sounds like she wanted Rocco to find it, and that she did this to hurt Lulu. And this has to stop. He says she can't keep blaming Lulu for Gio thinking she gave him up without a second thought, and that's all on her. Michael tells Dante to stop. Michael says Dante has no right to judge Brooklyn, and he has no idea what it was like for her to give up that baby. Brooklyn thanks Michael, but says this is something she and Dante need to work out themselves. Michael leaves them, and Brooklyn tells Dante to let her have it again. Dante says what he said about Gio was out of line, but for her to use his son crossed a line as well. Brooklyn swears it wasn't her intention, and she regrets Rocco getting caught in the crossfire. She knows this is the worst thing she's ever done, and she says she only wanted to hurt Lulu and give her a taste of her own medicine, and she never meant for Rocco to see the file. She knows Rocco is hurting, and it's her fault, and she has to live with that. She cries that she's sorry, and Dante appreciates her saying that. Brooklyn cries that Gio thinks she did this on purpose, and hates her even more. Dante believes she's sorry, but that won't fix what Rocco and Gio are feeling. Brooklyn thinks that now that Gio hates her and thinks she's the worst, he might be more open to Dante. Back at Aurora, Michael arrives having gotten Curtis's text. Curtis warns him about the headline story about to drop across all Aurora outlets. Did Sonny Corinthos end Natalia Ramirez? Michael assumes this is Drew's doing. Curtis rants that he was so close to stopping Drew, but now he's out of options. He doesn't feel that he and Portia have what it takes to make it through this. At the Brown Dog, Portia sits next to Isaiah. She vents that she ran into Jordan, and she is trying to steal her husband. However, she was right about one thing. If her marriage ends, then she has nobody to blame but herself. Isaiah tells her that she shouldn't have to be putting all this effort into fighting to prove herself to her husband, and maybe he's the problem. Vaughn returns to Anna and Emma when Joss appears and declares, "Okay, Vaughn, you win." He asks why she's here. Emma reveals she told Joss that they were going out and asks Joss if she is stalking them. Joss says she still has Vaughn's location in her phone and calls Emma out on snatching up the guy she just broke up with. Joss tells Vaughn it's either her or Emma. Vaughn tells Emma that he's sorry, Joss is super crazy, but he's into it in her. He says he's sorry and goes with Joss. Anna clearly is suspicious. At the bar, Joss tells Vaughn he's welcome for the save, and if he thinks that act worked. Vaughn says they have to sell this as Anna is sharp and onto him, so she kisses him. Anna and Emma spot the kiss, and Anna says that they are a bit intense. Emma says Joss never misses an opportunity to embarrass herself. Anna tells Emma it's best she does not get involved with this guy, and perhaps it worked out for the best. Emma says perhaps she's right. Emma palms a key marked Master, which she appears to have lifted from Vaughn. Isaiah tells Portia maybe it's time she starts playing her own game, not Jordan's, and a game one she won't lose. Portia thanks him and buys them the next round. At Aurora, Curtis hopes he and Portia are stronger than Drew's manipulations. Michael says Curtis needs to protect his family, and he has to do the same, and warn his dad about the headlines about to drop. At the gallery, Kai tells Trina that none of this means he's disloyal to her, and all he did was tell the truth. She cries that he made a choice, and he chose Drew. She will always choose her family no matter what, and he'll never be family to her. Kai tells Trina that he loves her. She screams at him to get out. He leaves, and she collapses on a bench in tears. At the Quartermain estate, Chase tells Tracy that she's right, and BLQ's priority should be Gio. Tracy is glad they agree. He appreciates her concern about their marriage, but nothing Brooklyn could do would ever drive him away. In the living room, Dante says he can't get past what she did to Rocco, but she intended to do right by their son when she gave Gio up. It came from a place of love, and Gio needs to know and feel that they love him. He has to believe they'll have a chance to show him. Brooklyn cries that she hopes so, and they embrace. On her porch, Lulu thanks her mom. She knows it helped Rocco to hear what she said, and it helped her too. Laura says Rocco is going to be fine and to have faith in him. Also on GH, Alexis defends Sonny. In addition to tensions flaring at Natalia's memorial service, General Hospital spoilers for Monday, July 14, 2025, will also focus on Alexis defending Sonny while Carly is heartbroken. Marco apparently holds a memorial service for his mother that happens on Monday. He continues to feel mounds of guilt over not being able to save his mother and taking too long to mend their relationship. But he's going to do whatever it takes to get justice for Natalia, and part of that is making sure Sonny goes down for her death. Marco doesn't believe for 1 second that Natalia's death was simply an accident. Needless to say, if Sonny shows up at the memorial service, that explains why tensions flare. What is harder to explain is that on Monday, Alexis defends Sonny. This is a big deal because she recently went off on him after the Charlie's Pub fire. However, in the next week on preview, at the end of Friday's episode, Marco asks Alexis, "What makes you think Sonny didn't have anything to do with this?" So even though Alexis despises the danger Sonny poses to Christina, she also knows him well, and thinks she knows that he would have never purposely caused Natalia's demise. Will Marco take what Alexis tells him into account, or will he simply ignore his boss and work with Sidwell to make Sonny pay? Meanwhile, Carly is heartbroken. Is this because Sasha and Daisy have to go bye-bye, at least until whoever's stalking them? Cough is caught, or is her heart breaking over something else? Anna confides in Felicia. This could be about needing someone to advise her on Emma and what happened with Vaughn at the Brown Dog during Friday's episode. Finally, Emma confesses, she may come clean about only getting close to Vaughn to steal his keys. Those keys could allow her to break into the PCU labs where Professor Dalton is conducting his super-secret research. Cameron Matheson took to social media to extol his daughter's numerous virtues and expressed how honored he was to be her dad. Drew would like to think he's a family man on General Hospital, except he stole his nephew Michael's family. He's under the delusion that he, Willow, and her kids, Wiley and Amelia, will ultimately live happily ever after. While Drew's antics are further enraging everyone he knows, his portrayer, Cameron Matheson, is the complete opposite. He recently shared his genuine love for his daughter most touchingly. Matheson lovingly wrote on Instagram, 19 today, and more radiant than ever. Kind-hearted, compassionate, full of grace, and the kind of light that fills every room. I couldn't be more proud of you, Layla, especially with the strength and resilience you've shown through the last few years of very big life challenges. He continued with, being your dad is one of the greatest honors of my life. The bond we share, it's rare, and I will never take it for granted. Love you beyond words, Lulu. Accompanying that were several photos depicting Layla throughout the years, and the first was a recent one of Matheson and his daughter in Amsterdam. Despite getting separated from his wife, Vanessa Matheson, the former couple are still very close, and she chimed in with, "How is baby girl night?" GH alum Matt Cohen commented, "You're a great dad, Cam," and Matheson replied to him with, "At Matt Cohen for real you too, brother." Across the soap aisle, The Bold and the Beautiful's Don DeMont shared the emojis, ew, with Matheson sending back a heart. Birthday wishes poured in from the fans, with one lovingly writing, "OMG, this is so beautiful," at Cameron Matheson. It is so clear that being a father has truly been the high point of your life, and it shows. I hope your beautiful little girl is having a magnificent birthday. Thank you for sharing this with your fans. Happy birthday, Leela! General Hospital spoilers reveal romantic tension is abound as Rick Lansing relentlessly pursues Elizabeth Baldwin this week, showing no signs of slowing down despite her recent heartbreak. With Lucky Spencer's departure after her rejection of his heartfelt proposal, Elizabeth's vulnerability opens a door for Rick, whose fiery history with her fuels his determination to rekindle their past love. As Elizabeth navigates her lingering pain and Rick's bold advances, undeterred by his ties to Ava Jerome's schemes, could their old spark ignite anew? Or will her guarded heart and his shady moves keep them apart? Elizabeth certainly should know better, but old habits die hard, and losing Lucky all over again may be too much for her to bear on her own. Rick's charm offensive, marked by lingering hospital chats and nostalgic gestures, pulls at Elizabeth's heartstrings, recalling their passionate marriage. Despite his involvement in blackmailing Alexis Davis over Christina Corinthos Davis' culpability in nearly killing them in a car crash intended for Ava, Rick's focus on Elizabeth shows no signs of waning. Her emotional rawness makes her susceptible, but his questionable ethics raise red flags. Will Rick's persistent pursuit, possibly offering to drop his schemes as a grand gesture, sway Elizabeth, or will she see through his calculated moves? Elizabeth's longing for love clashes with her wariness of Rick's past betrayals, like his manipulative streak in their earlier years. And let's not forget the cheating. His recent alignment with Ava and pressure on Alexis could remind her of old wounds. Yet his genuine affection, evident in soft glances, tempts her to reconsider. If a pivotal moment, perhaps on their date to the gallery, stirs old feelings, will Elizabeth give in to their chemistry, or will her instincts keep her guarded? Can Rick prove he's changed, or is his pursuit doomed by his own actions? Rick's chase could deliver surprising results, impacting Christina's legal woes and Molly Lansing Davis' relationship with her father. If Elizabeth softens, their reunion might spark drama with people like Carly Spencer, while her rejection could push Rick deeper into Ava's orbit. How are you hoping this pans out? Team Rick and Liz forever? General Hospital spoilers leak that some fans are suggesting Drew Quartermain might have orchestrated a prison switch with a lookalike before his 2023 release, leaving fans debating over whether the real Drew is still out there. With his current reign of chaos, scheming to orchestrate Michael Corinthos' rejection of Willow Corinthos in Germany, traumatizing Wiley Corinthos with lies about his father no longer loving him in light of Daisy Corinthos Gilmore's birth, and blackmailing Dr. Portia Robinson while stabbing Curtis Ashford in the back. This Drew seems a far cry from the Navy SEAL hero. Could a doppelganger be pulling the strings while the true Drew languishes elsewhere? If this theory holds, who's behind the swap, and what does it mean for Port Charles? The theory posits that during Drew's prison stint, he swapped places with a lookalike, possibly arranged by a mastermind like Jen Sidwell, to wreak havoc. His uncharacteristic villainy, manipulating Willow Corinthos and his fling with Nina Reeves, fuels suspicion that this isn't the real Drew. A clue, like a cryptic prison record uncovered by Jason Morgan, could spark questions. If the real Drew is trapped, perhaps in a secret facility, will his return expose the imposter, or is this Drew just a darker evolution of the man fans knew? If a switch happened, Sidwell, clashing with Sonny Corinthos, is a prime suspect, using a lookalike to destabilize the Corinthos clan. The Quartermains also have no shortage of enemies and bridges burned. Could it be someone from their past that set their sights on Drew and taking them down via replacing him? If anyone starts to dig much deeper, a tense confrontation might unravel the truth. Will the imposter's motives, revenge or power, come to light, or is this theory a stretch? A confirmed switch could flip Port Chuck upside down, with Willow reeling, Michael fighting back, and Sasha Gilmore Corbin's fragile mental state caught in the crossfire. If the real Drew returns, his clash with the imposter could spark chaos. Which team are you on? The team shouting that a look-alike twist would save Drew, or the team scoffing, he's just gone bad? Did Drew pull off a prison switch with a look-alike, leaving the real Drew out there? Or is this darker Drew the man Port Charles must face? General Hospital spoilers and updates tease that Sonny Corinthos' planned attack on Lucas Jones's boyfriend Marco Rios might lose him a crucial relationship. This might be the last straw for Carly Spencer, who stood by Sonny time and time again. In the episode that aired July 9th, Lucas asked Carly to talk to Sonny, in an effort to protect his new boyfriend, Marco. Unfortunately, is Jen Sidwell's son. Lucas feared retaliation from Sonny against Sidwell for the fire at Charlie's pub, and that Marco would be caught in the payback. Marco risked his life to save Christina Corinthos Davis from the fire. But even that may not faze Sonny when he's out for revenge. Carly told Lucas she didn't think Sonny would retaliate against Marco, who was an innocent party even if his father was behind the fire. The way Sonny might see it is if Sidwell wasn't out to target his family, the fire wouldn't have happened in the first place, and if Marco is collateral damage, so be it. Even as Carly heads over to Sonny's to tell him not to retaliate, Sonny and Jason Morgan already have a plan in place. He has told Jason when someone comes after his child, he goes after theirs, and he suspects Sidwell was behind his penthouse bombing that nearly burned up Michael Corinthos. He also believes he's behind the firebombing of Charlie's pub, even though the two weapons used were drastically different. But then Selena Wu was framed. When Carly gets there, Jason and Sonny have just gotten done talking about the plan to retaliate against Sidwell and targeting Marco. She comes in, Sonny asks what she wants. She says she wants to prevent another of their children being killed. Sonny and Jason get wind of a stalker putting Daisy Gilmore in danger. Even though there's no reason to think Sidwell is behind it, still, Daisy is a Corinthos grandchild. That means she could be a Sidwell target, as well as Michael, Christina, or Donna Corinthos. For that matter, Sonny's daughter with Ava Jerome, Avery Jerome Corinthos, or Michael's other two children could be targets. Lucas could find himself having to save Marco's life after a retaliatory attack, just what he feared. And it's the last straw for Carly. Not only will Sonny lose her, he'll lose access to Donna. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you!